Hello and welcome. My name is Ashley Gunn. Today's book review will be on The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I have not read any books by her before. This is a sports romance, and I checked. I haven't seen any other books that are sports romances written by Mariana. Hopefully she comes out with more, but as of right now, this is the only one. The questions I get asked the most often are about sports romances, which authors I would recommend, series, and that type of stuff. So I hope that Mariana comes out with an entire series. This is about a woman named Vanessa and a guy named Aiden. Vanessa is the personal assistant to Aiden, mainly does everything, cleans the house, cooks, anything that has to do with his life. She makes sure it runs as smoothly as possible. And one day she finally decides that she can run her side business, which is a graphics design business, to make enough money where she doesn't have to put up with Aiden anymore. He has a tendency to take everybody for granted and just his ways or the highway. And her quitting lights that fire under Aiden's booty, where he realizes that he's going to have to try and get her to come back to work. But not only that, he wants her to marry him for a green card because he actually is a Canadian citizen on a work visa, and he doesn't want his citizenship in the United States to be based on him working and playing sports, being a football player. So he wants to get his actual citizenship and wants her to marry him for a green card. And so Vanessa basically is like, why on earth did you decide me? Because we don't get along, we're not friends. And Aiden really doesn't have anyone else in his life that he could ask, but more importantly, he's aware of the fact that Vanessa is really far in debt. I believe originally $200,000, and she's worked it down to $150,000 in just school loans. So Aiden offers her to pay off her debt and buy her a house at the end of it, but they have to be married for 5 years, I believe 2 years minimum. He goes through the whole thing. He even talks to an immigration lawyer, so he has all his ducks in a row when it comes to what he needs in order to get his citizenship. When it comes to his relationship with Vanessa, it starts off where they basically are not even friends, and then they'll work their way to friends and so on and so forth. But as it goes on, you almost get this impression that Aiden maybe has been in love with her from afar, and the reason he wants to stay is because of his friends and because of Vanessa. The way that Mariana writes Aiden to be this huge, imposing man who loves to do puzzles, but at the same time is quiet, demanding, I would say. He's a vegan, so you feel this kind of hot and cold with him. I don't know why he's so shut down when it comes to Vanessa or just anybody in general. He definitely has a football-only mentality. Anything that's not football is not in his reality. And so it takes a lot for him to actually take his eyes off himself and focus on somebody else, which I think that through the book he learns how to do. Vanessa has come from this aggressive family. Her mother's basically been a bystander who knows that she's picked on and treated unfairly by her siblings, but her mother just doesn't want to start trouble, and so it makes everything a lot worse. But here's what's really interesting, is that 2 of Vanessa's siblings are basically sociopaths. And I never thought of the fact that sometimes people who are really disturbed have siblings. And so Vanessa's childhood was obviously a very difficult one because of her siblings, and then her mother basically would disappear at chunks of time. So she has some abandonment issues, as well as she's always trying to protect herself. The whole book itself, I would say, is erotic because there are parts where she's daydreaming about Aiden and stuff, but there's only one sex scene. So it's difficult for me because though this is not as erotic as a lot of other sports novels, I definitely wouldn't say it's clean. So this is kind of the best of both worlds. If you want a sports romance that is very heavily about someone forming a relationship, and because they start with basically nothing, and so they have to learn to be there for each other, be friends with each other, to build onto that. Plus, because Aiden doesn't look at anybody but himself, he has to learn what he can do to help Vanessa in this situation, which I think was probably my favorite part. Altogether, just an incredible book. I think that Mariana should probably write a couple of more sports romances. I haven't read any of her other books, but I'm willing to give them a try. When I read this one, I wanted there to be more of the teammates and stuff like that because I'm used to it with other sports romance series. I hope that helps. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave it down below. And if you like this review, then go ahead and like it. And if you want my videos every week, subscribe. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.